Hey everybody, Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. And today I'm talking with Tasia from the islands. So I want Tasia to tell us a little bit about herself. I'm not even going to attempt to say her name. It's almost as long as mine. Go for it, babe.
Hey, and you know what? I actually don't have a middle name, and that suits me fine because my surname is so long. Hi guys, my name is Tasia Gonsalves-Barriero, and I am from the islands of Antigua and Barbuda in the beautiful Caribbean. One quick tip or one quick fun fact, I was actually born on the islands of Dominica, and I came to the islands of Antigua and Barbuda since I was 3 months old, and I've lived here ever since. So that's another fun fact about me. All right, so I am an educator. I teach, and I also do freelance work and some consultation, and not yet coaching, but definitely consulting in terms of email marketing and assisting coaches, entrepreneurs, and consultants with writing emails that engage and convert their audience. And it is so awesome to be here with you today, Joy. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for the coffee. I should have had some coffee with me, shouldn't I? But the next time. And I'm looking forward to our conversation today. So, hi everyone.
First of all, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And you said you were a teacher, and what are you teaching?
Okay, so I teach high school Spanish. I'm also in charge of the modern languages department at my high school. So I oversee about 6 teachers currently in the department as well. So yeah.
So how the devil do you have time to do anything else, milady?
I do.
How do you have time?
Well, for the most part, our school system, high school system, we run from 8 to 1:30, which kind of gives me the afternoons to do a lot more of the things that I want to do. Other schools, they run until 3, but we run public school system run until 1:30 p.m. So kind of have the afternoon to do a bit one, then in between, because I don't have classes all day, every day, I do get some free time. And of course, I use the weekends as well because, hey, I want to build my business. I want to build my side hustle. And so, yeah, I just put in the extra work because it got to be done.
Yeah, it's passion.
Yes.
When you get hit by the passion bug, you can't stop. You
True.
can't stop.
That is so true.
And it's a good thing. A lot of people may wonder, but it really, it's so, I don't know, it's so satisfying in such a very personal way when you have a good work that, it's your good work.
Yeah.
And you're working on it and you see some progress and you're making other people happy and it's all in service. And at the end of the day, maybe you're exhausted and you can't figure out where the week went, where the day went, whatever. But you're just happy. You're not miserable.
Trust me, Joy. True, I am not miserable, but there were times, especially starting out, where I had no clue what I was doing. I felt lost a lot of the times, and then because you're from this small island, and you think that there's nobody else in this area, in this space, who's doing what you want to do, and so sometimes it kind of gets lonely. And even though now I have feeling okay for myself, I still have people who don't understand what I'm doing or what it all means.
People don't understand what I'm doing, and I'm from New York. People have no idea. My husband, to the day he died, had no clue what I did for a living.
So it's like, yeah, but you know what? Little by little, I'm just educating them. Hey, this thing is legit, okay? And you have to give it a try. But yeah, sometimes there's that, and trust me, I dealt a lot with imposter syndrome. Again, because I'm a small island girl. And wow, you're going onto this platform, because I've always been on LinkedIn, on this platform, and all these people, these large numbers, these large followings, and who am I? What do I have to bring to the table? Until I had to find myself. I mean, of course, I took some courses, read some books, and it took me a while to find my feet and land on my feet. And trust me, it's just all the way to the top from here, right now. Yeah.
I think what a lot of us don't realize, and it's just a matter of confidence, is that we all have something to bring to the table.
True.
It may not be what we were taught in school. It may not be what your parents taught you. It may not be what you think it is. But if you silently listen and do it over time, it's there. It's right there at the tip of your nose. You're doing it all the time. You just don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. So, we may be pursuing something that we think we should be doing because we've been taught this is how it's done.
Exactly.
And if you're an innovator, maybe you've come up with something that's not the way it's been done because you do it differently. And that's the niche. That's where it's all about. And, there are lots of people that, you're a school teacher and you may continue to be a school teacher for a number of years. So you've got this career, but you've got a passion otherwise, and you're pursuing it. And at some point in time, perhaps one will take over the other.
Definitely.
Perhaps. Maybe not. Maybe not. You don't know. But, I said to somebody today, I'm in a fog, but I hear the horn and I see the lighthouse. That light is out there. I know it's out there. And I'm following that light in the fog.
Right.
And I don't expect it to. You know what? The fog clears out every once in a while, and it's amazing. And you're like, yes. And then you're in the fog again. You're like, okay, I'll figure my way out. It's okay. It's another challenge.
Definitely, it is. It is, Joy. And it's amazing that you brought that up, the point of the fog, because even within this year, you would have had a lot of good times, and then there were times when you just listen. I'm just not in the mood right now, and sometimes I find I just have to shut down because I just needed to recalibrate, just needed to do, just set it all aside and then come back fresh again. And as you say, you get to see the fog clears. You don't get much fog here, but I do understand the analogy. The fog clears, and then, hey, you recognize, okay, I am on the right path. So I think I'm going to stick with this one. Yeah. So it has been that kind of way for me over the last 2 years, but I must admit, I'm really having fun. I'm enjoying it. And it's really good to just come here and share and talk a little bit about how it has been, how my journey has been, what my plans or my goals are, for 2023, because coming to a close of 2022. Yeah. So that's what it's all about.
So, what are some of those plans, may I ask?
All right.
So,
cool.
A little bit. You could just give us a little bit, like, your business plan kind of.
Just a little bit. Now, when it comes to my strategy or my plan for my business, I had only intended to just do the email marketing thing. But having had conversations with a lot of persons who are either potential clients or who sent to be my clients, I realized that there's so many facets that I can do in terms of offering services to those who are in need. Locally, for example, there are lots of people who want to know about LinkedIn. I don't consider myself a LinkedIn expert by any stretch of the imagination. But guess what? I've been on LinkedIn long enough that I know a few things. And so people want to learn. And so one of the things I'm going to do next year is I'm going to be offering at least 2 in-person workshops on how to get started on LinkedIn. That's local. It's going to be here. We have a local university. I'm collaborating with their business department. I'm dealing with that, and so I'm going to be doing that. I'm also launching my free newsletter, which I'm launching for January 2023 because I've been banned on LinkedIn 5 times since July. I got to build my audience off of LinkedIn. So those 2 things, and of course, I want to get more into consulting because that I recognize is a need in a lot of the clients that I speak with. They have an idea, they know what they want in terms of, and they know what they're doing in terms of coaching, but to help them really formulate everything and put all the pieces together, they sort of need that guidance. And so I'm going to be offering that as well. So those are my 3 major plans for my business. How did I get there? It wasn't just an off-the-top thing. It wasn't just this sounds like a good idea because Joy's doing it. No. It came from having conversations with people who have real, clear challenges. I recognize, okay, here's a need. And your girl is going to do what she can to help fill that need because I know a thing or two, so I can help fill that need and, of course, make some money along the way. So, yeah, those are my three major things for 2020.
I hear that. I hear that. So, in the past, like you said, you get high days and low days. When you get that kick in the pants where you're thinking, oh, maybe this doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe school teaching is just, what's wrong with me? I'm trying to do everything for everybody, and I don't have time. When you get, you get exhausted. Like you said, you step away.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing. I step away. And I'll just literally, sometimes I'll just read a book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like an entertaining book. It's not, a book. Sometimes I'll just sit in front of the TV, and I'm not a TV person these days, but I'll just turn it on, hit Netflix, and go, what do I want to watch, and zone out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's literally, I'll think about it tomorrow, type of a thing, and then tomorrow, I'm like, is it time to think about this? Like, what happened? And do you find? I guess it's sort of like a silly question. Don't you find that speaking with keeping a special group, that when you get to those low points, it's not you're talking to your sister, your brother, your mother, your lover, your partner, whatever. You're not them, but you're talking to these special people that understand what you're trying to do.
That is important.
It's called networking. Networking.
That is important, Joe, because as much as you may love the next person, you love your partner, your friend, your whatever, they aren't in the space. So they don't understand. They can only give you advice up to their own point of knowledge, which in this space, they're not familiar with it. So they don't understand. They don't know. So sometimes, and if you're tempted to say, I do talk to my partner all the time about everything. I'm always talking to him. Whether he understands or not, he's okay, he listens. But really, he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand the trials that you face as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur, as a writer in this particular space. You do need to have those persons that you can just send a quick DM to, or send we use WhatsApp down this side, send a WhatsApp to, and that sort of thing. So one of the things initially when I first started writing, and there was nobody here, I joined a group in the States on Facebook, and then I met a local person who was in the States, but he was Antiguan, so I felt comfortable. And then he came to Antigua, and he started this big, he wanted to start a big group where we could go out and network. So initially there were only two of us, me and him, but we meet every Tuesday, and we'll talk about copywriting. We talk about how to get clients and that sort of thing. And that for me was important because I didn't feel as alone as I was when I was just sitting by myself. So having that network is key. Having one or two or three persons that you can meet with on a regular and say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's look at, these are my plans for 2020. What are your thoughts? What do you think I can do in this instance? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? And you're able to bounce ideas off each other and help each other grow in so many ways. So that, for me, that networking is key. The person may not be a buddy, but you're going to call them every day. But you can bounce ideas off of them when the need arises, and vice versa, because, of course, we're here to help each other as we continue to grow and thrive in this online space. So that is quite key and quite important.
I was lucky. I had a networking group that I belonged to quite a long time ago. And out of that networking group, there was a woman in the group. And we got to talking now and again. And it turns out we literally live on either sides of the creek. So we started walking every day because I said to her, I walk my dogs. She goes, oh, I'll ride my bicycle over to your house and then we'll walk. And that's gone on for 5 years.
Awesome. Wow.
So it may not be every day. And in the winter, she's not going to be riding her bicycle over in the snow because in New York, get snow, but in the summer it's often, and COVID, et cetera, et cetera. But in any case, we literally vent personally, professionally with each other, and we've worked together on some projects together along the time, and it's always been it's sort of like, nobody knows me. Everybody, it's like, I'm going to go eat worms. And then I'll talk to her and she'll be like, I get it. This is what happened to me.
Yeah.
And we just talk conversationally about business. And it sort of gets the kinks out of the day now and again. So I value professional relationships.
Yes.
More than I ever thought I would. I thought that at some points in my life, I thought that they were fabricated and not genuine. Like, it's just a business relationship, what they can give me, what I can give them. But the point is, it's what they can give me, what I can give them, what they can give me, what they, it's back. It's 60-40. It's just like marriage. It's just like marriage, minus the sex. I find it to be very important, and I have valued those relationships on top of my friendships over time, and built them and continue to build them. That was a surprising part of my sudden business plan. It was like, you know what? I've got to nurture these relationships. They're very important relationships.
Definitely.
And it's still changing me because, the truth is, I sometimes think that I'm highly selfish and it's all about me. I sometimes say to myself, it's not about you, Joy. There's other people on the planet. No. Let me solve this problem. And these relationships have allowed me to learn to listen. Because it's like, when I realize, when the voice says it's not about you right now, I'm like, okay, you mean it's time to listen? Yeah. And it's, when you have high energy like me, it's so difficult to listen.
Right.
So how do you think, as you were a teacher and then you became involved in this and became involved in this, do you feel that you're changing?
In some ways, yes. And let me explain. What I have found useful, my teaching background and my teaching experience, I have found that to be quite key in work with other clients. Now, of course, my clients are children, but there's some key components with teaching that sometimes they can be trusted. But there's some key components. You have to listen. You have to be a good listener. You have to be able to empathize. You have to be able to give clear instructions and ensure that they follow these instructions, they understand the instructions. And once I've taken those same tenets with me into building this business, because honestly, when I started freelancing, I wanted nothing from my teaching career to be involved in what I was doing. But it's hard to get away from, because at heart, I'm a teacher, and what I'm doing is I'm teaching people how to connect with other people. So I have to use the skills that I have. And so that for me is important in terms of helping my audience understand. And so my teaching background has given me that, I want to use maybe advantage maybe, in terms of connecting with them. And that for me is key. In terms of change, yes, I will say this. I've had to grow. And that's the thing about when you're evolving into other things, you're always going to be learning and learning. There's so many things that I've had to learn on the business end of being a freelancer. There are lots of things I've had to learn to do myself. There are lots of things I've had to pay for or delegate to somebody else or some assistant, occasionally, whatever. But you have to learn to let things go. And that's not me. I just like to do everything myself, because I figure I can learn to do it, and I don't need anybody to do it. But of course, that is just room for burnout. So no, I've had to learn to let things go. I've had to learn to ask for help, and that was not a key component of my life. I don't like to ask for help. it's just, yeah, I think I can do it myself. So, those are areas that I've seen change in myself, even in terms of how I handle money. Um, when you're freelancing, the money's coming in and it looks good, but you recognize, Pastor, you have to be strategic with the money that you're bringing in. Yes, you have money from two sources of income, and that's good. But what are your plans? What are the things? So I've had to sit down and be strategic with how I'm using even those extra funds that do come in. So there are lots of things that I keep learning, I keep adapting, I pivot if I have to. And I recognize that, when you look back 12 months later, you realize, wow, girl, you've come a long way. And you got to tap yourself in the back a little bit just to, and be proud of the progress that that I've made, the last 24 months considering, and so on.
You touched on something, and it brought this to mind that some of us, you and I, and many people who are listening, have decided to control the work relationship. Yeah. Where we used to go to work and, there's a set schedule, there's, set progress, there's this, there's that, there's expectations, all those things. And you work for the company and, you have people around you that work for the company. When you get to this mindset where you're like, I don't want to work for people. I want to work with people. And that's also along the lines of, I can do this myself, where you feel like this is my responsibility and I have to do this job. If I ask for help, I can't do my job, and they'll know it and they'll fire me. Well, it gets different in the freelancing space, because at some point you have that mindset and you have to lose it because you won't be successful, where you say, I know what I could do and what I can't do. That's where I'm going to build these people around me, so that there's a relationship. And if I throw someone a bit of work so we could collaborate together as equals, we can both do this project, and this person will be able to say, it was lovely working with her, with him, with them, and I can't wait to do it again. And they'll throw you a bone, and it keeps going like that. And that's the difference between the corporate world and the freelance world, because we're in control. We could turn around and say, I really didn't like working with Joe, and I don't want to do it again. We can't do that at work. We can't say, the project that you signed with Joe, I don't like Joe, and I don't ever want to work with Joe again, because they're going to write that down to HR, and now it's a complaint. And now it's, Joy can't work with others. Everyone else loves Joe. Joy. So, it's a different, and that's a growth pattern, and that's sometimes painful.
Yes.
Very painful. Yes. Because you second guess yourself, where you're like, am I working for, am I working with? And when when you're doing the working for, it's a different mindset, and people can push you around. And you push, your confidence level goes like this. With the freelancer, goes like this, especially when you reach out to somebody else, another professional, you're reaching as an expert, as an equal, and they're saying, this person is an expert. I can't wait to work with them.
But, and you know what? Sorry, go ahead. You've touched on something in terms of the mindset thing, because when you've worked for someone for as long as you have, and when I say you, anybody, me, initially you said we're taught and we're trained from childhood that we're going to go out and work for somebody. So that is ingrained psychologically in us, and so it takes great mental strength to change that narrative, to say, listen, you're not just working for somebody. You are an expert. You know what you're bringing to the table. You have helped, you can help, and you will continue to help others. That growth mindset is so important. It is so key into you seeing what you're bringing to the table, the potential you have, and the potential you have to help others change their lives. with what you're bringing to the table. Sadly, I've seen it even, around you locally. People feel that, okay, this is the best I can do. So, for example, I was at the gym today, and this young swim team was in because today's a public holiday for us. We're celebrating the birth of our first prime minister. He died years ago, but we celebrate his birthday today, so it's a public holiday.
Well,
And thank you.
Yesterday.
Thank you. And so the swim team was in, and there was a young man, my partner was in, he was like, I spoke to this young man 6 years ago, and I said to him, you're going to be the next swimming champ. And at the time, the young man was like, you know me. Today, the child is about 18, 19, and he saw him again, he said to him, you are going to be the next swimming champ. He was like, okay. You could see that.
Hold on. It's one of those times where Joy's joking.
Oh my! Do you need me to tap your back? You're good.
I'm allergic to myself. I'm losing my voice. Oh, you choked me up, Tasia. So we're in the pool, and this guy is now 18, 19. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, no, we're at the gym. So the swim team is at the gym. So
Okay, gym.
Right, 19. And my partner says to him again, do you know that you're going to be the next champion, swimming champ for our island? And he was like, okay. There was just this lack of confidence that stayed with him from 6 years ago till now, that he still doesn't see himself as a champ. And for some reason, I can't understand how a young man who's been swimming since he's 6 years old, at 19, still doesn't see himself as a swimming champion, even though he's done very well in the swimming pool. And for me, it suggests that maybe those around him aren't really, pushing him, driving him, encouraging him. Even though he's with all these adults and whatever. And so that whole networking thing that you talked about earlier, it's so important to have these key strategic people in your life who are going to build you up when you think at times that you can't, when you think at times it's impossible, when you think at times sometimes you're doing a bit too big for your britches, as they say. And yeah, it's really good to have that sort of support around you so that you're not.
Sometimes parents don't know how to do that.
Yeah, true.
And also sometimes parents are seeing in you what they want you to be, and they may not be seeing what you are or what you could potentially be.
True.
Or they may see it and they may feel it's a risk. If you wanted to go off and become a sailor and your parents are like, oh my goodness, they don't have money and you're not going to be by my family and, but I love the sea. But no, you can't be a fisherman, you're a sailor. No, and they literally work against you. In the meantime, this person, if you fed the person the right information, perhaps they could be a fisherman, go to sea, eventually open up their own fishing store and maybe a restaurant. And you've stopped them from doing everything because you just felt it was risky. So that is why sometimes you do need people around you to recognize different talents or bring those different talents out. Obviously, I'm not basically telling anybody to become a boxer and just get their face in it. But, there's all sorts of things going on in the world, and everybody needs each other for their specific talent. But we haven't been taught that's the way to do it.
Sure.
We've been taught go to school, go to college, get some sort of a career that makes money, that makes a salary, have a family, have kids, teach them to do the same. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, except it would be nice if passion were involved in it, whereby I remember my father telling me, the reason I go to work and I'm so happy is because I love what I do. And work is work, but if you could find work that you love, you will be happy.
True. True. True.
And there's two voices in my head. My father's voice that said that, and my mother's voice that said, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." And I was like, "Mom, I will never, ever, ever believe that. You can learn," because she used to smoke, and I would say, "Mom, stop smoking." And she would say, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." And I'd be like, "Yes, you can. And matter of fact, we have a dog, and I'm going to show you. He's old, and I'm going to teach him a new trick." And I did.
And did you?
I did. And it really is. We don't stop learning until we tell ourselves we don't want to learn, and that's standing in our own way. We're standing in our own way. We can continue to learn, and there's nothing wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with looking back 1 year, 10 years, 50 years. There's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm going to look forward, and whatever it is, I'm going to keep looking forward to say I'm going to accomplish this. Just, don't say I'm too old and I don't have enough time to do it. Do it. Or, I can't do it because I'm not in the right place. Find the way to do it. If there are some obstacles, find the way to do it a little bit at a time.
Exactly.
And the opportunities. Have you found that sometimes opportunities literally fall into your lap when you've got a positive, when you're actually working towards something, because people see that positive attitude? It's not magic. The law of attraction isn't magic. It's that if you show other people you're positive, you're an expert, you have the wherewithal, they're going to remember that and come back to you, or recommend someone else to coach you. And if you're always positive, and you got the wherewithal and you keep learning, you're going to motivate yourself into those situations, as opposed to saying, "I'll just sit home and eat popcorn."
You're going to find a way. You will find a way. Yeah, you'll find a way. You'll find a way. Even though, sometimes you may, especially if you're starting out now in business, and you may find, okay, I want to do a particular thing, but it's costly. There's almost always a cheaper way to do it, to get it done. So you look for that cheaper way. You find that way. You can batch your services with somebody who needs something. Whatever it is, but you always try and find a way to get things done. And, going back a bit on passion, I remember I became a teacher because of my stepmother. My stepmother just retired 42 years in teaching. And I'm like, I'm never going to stay that long in teaching, sir. But I love teaching. And I was about 10 when I told her I wanted to be a teacher. And I never remember that. She reminded me of that about 5 years ago, that I told her I wanted to be a teacher. And, I eventually became a teacher. But it is her passion. She lives and breathes mathematics. Anything with mathematics, this woman is crazy about mathematics. And the opposite side, me, I hate mathematics with a passion. I do not like it. But she does everything when it comes to mathematics. And so parents will always send their children to her, primary school, secondary school, our local state college, whatever it is that you have with mathematics-wise, she was there. Even now, she's retired, but she still finds a way to give back to her alma mater in terms of assisting with mathematics. And she, for me, is the epitome of a woman who understands what your passion is all about. And there's a saying that says your gift will make room for you. Whatever your gift is, whatever that passion is, you will find yourself in rooms where you didn't even know how you got there. But it is that passion and that gift that made that possible for you to be there, for you to be at the stage where you are, for you to meet some awesome people, for you to recognize, wow, I never even thought that this could happen, but here I am, enjoying the fruits of my labor, and sometimes even labor that you did not even put in. So passion for me is an important aspect. If you want to start a business and you don't like what you're doing, you're not going to do very well at it. You may make money, you may make some good money, but you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to. So from the get-go, I would say try and find something that you like to do. Writing, speaking, teaching, baking, whatever, sewing, teaching somebody to play football. World Cup is on right now, so it's World Cup fever around here right now. But whatever it is, you can find a way to let your passions out there, let them out into the atmosphere, into the environment, help others, because there's always somebody who's willing to learn and who wants to learn from what you have. And to a fourth grader, a sixth grader is brilliant. Because a sixth grader who can help a fourth grader with a similar, wow, he's smart, right? So you are a few steps ahead of somebody, but for them, they see you as the expert because you know what you're bringing to the table and how you can help them. So I would always suggest start there. And that, again, I've never been using this term a while, but that for me is also important. Starting where you're at. Stop trying to find the next big thing. Just start with where you're at right now. Whatever it is whatever that gift is, it's yours. You came into this world with it. Don't go back out without using it. Find a way to explore that passion. Find a way to exploit it in a good way. Exploit it to help others, to expand it, to help it to grow so that other people can benefit from the goodness that is inside of you.
And start within the community.
Definitely.
Because that's how you can safely experiment with what you've got and how you can share it and if you can make money with it. If you do that, people who, there's something wrong with saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to go to California because California's, I like being outside and it's always sunny and then you go and you're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to go to the mountains because I love the mountains, and you're going to constantly be moving. Now, there's something wrong with that because you'll have experiences there. But what's happening is it's next shiny syndrome. Next shiny thing syndrome. And you're really not finding out who you are, because the minute that you're able to find out who you are, literally, you're speaking with somebody and the mirror is right there and you're looking at yourself in the mirror. As soon as you do that, you're like, oh, got to go somewhere else. You're running away from who you are.
Yeah, true.
Because you're looking for something, and that something is right here. Right here. And as soon as you recognize it, it scares you. And rightly so, it should. When you realize, when I was working and over and over and over again, I literally found that I was my own obstacle. And in many different ways. And I always thought it was somebody else. It was this one, that one, the other thing. It was, I was burned out in New York City. I was this. I went through every single reason it could possibly be. And then I realized, something's wrong. And it's like, it's me. Now, what is it? At that point, I could have been negative and just said, I'm useless. I have nothing. But something said, I have something. And I was like, what is that something? And I said, I don't know. And I was in an interview and I was trying for a job. And she said, well, you've been doing, at that point I was doing proofreading for a magazine. So it was not just text, it was for color proof. So you had to check to make sure that the color was right, that the images were right, that the text was right, everything about the magazine page, everything. The page number, blah. So I was looking for the next job in that company and interviewing, and she said, I don't know why you think you're ready for this job. You have no skills that apply. And I looked at her and I said, my skills are transferable. I'm detail oriented. You don't see that match print proofreading is detail oriented? I mean, most people wouldn't be able to take 1 hour of this job, no less do it one page after the other after the other. And she looked at me blankly, and I thought to myself, not for nothing, she doesn't belong in that job. I do. And I realized, there it is. I have transferable skills. What are those skills? And I started learning about those skills. And it happened just oddly. And everything that, as I started doing that, like, what are those skills? Who the heck am I? The answers came, and they came oddly. It wasn't like I knocked on somebody's door and I said, "Excuse me, but who am I?" But it happened like that. You know, I would meet people, talk to them about what they're doing, and I would think, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." No, I don't want to do that. Okay, now.
Yeah.
And if you're not open to that experience, if you're afraid, if you're standing against yourself and you allow that to happen, you're not going to find out. And
True.
and you know, in my book, you probably end up getting reborn again until you can figure it out. You know, so I think this whole journey has taken at least 50 years for me. So when it happens shorter for other people, that's wonderful. I mean, that's literally, it's not a miracle, but it's a blessing. And I think that if we can educate the youth in this way, they can start coming into their own quicker and be able to apply little miracles all over the place. And, you know, and they're just little miracles. And that's what we need, a lot of little miracles. I think innovation will happen when innovation. COVID came, and now we've got remote working.
Oh, wow.
Innovation. Okay. And guess what? It works. And it works. It's something that no one ever thought would happen. No. You have to come to work. We have to know what you're doing. And now I've been working remote since 2006, but remote whereby people said to me, "Oh, you don't go to the office? You don't have an office?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I'll come to my house. I'll show you my office." Now people are like, "Oh yeah, I work remote. I go to the office once or twice a week or once or twice a month." And now it's becoming, more and more normal. And then, people are talking about the 4-day work week. And then we're talking about, it's all of these things, innovation, are happening, and we're not going back.
Definitely.
We're not going back.
That is key. That is key. It's key to understand and enjoy that. And I'm not sure, why would you want to go back anyway? When you look at it all, why would you want to go back? The thing about it is understanding that there's a place for you. There's a place that you can, using your word, innovate. There's a place that you can carve out your own niche. There's a place where you can understand, okay, I have some experience that I could use to pivot. And I suffered from shiny object syndrome early on when I first started freelancing, because I'm not going to lie, I wanted to make a quick buck. So that was my thing. And when the money wasn't coming, like, okay, this isn't working, let me try this. And so this isn't working, let me try this. And if somebody said, "Oh, I did this and I made $5,000 in 7 days," okay, let me try that. And when it didn't work, so you always, I was always pivoting, because somebody said this worked for them, somebody said that worked for them, and there was no solid strategy in place. So one of my recommendations is to work with some sort of strategy. Listen, what do you want to accomplish? What do you, you're not just going to go on the internet and fire things willy-nilly and be here, there, posting here without having an understanding of what you want to accomplish, who you want to reach out to, who you want to impact with, with what you're accomplishing, because you want to talk to somebody. Not everybody. There's one coach who, when I was helping her, I said, "Who's your target audience?" And she said to me, "Everybody, the whole wide world." And I said, "Well, really and truly, you can't really target the whole world." And she insisted that the whole wide world was going to be her target audience. And I knew that there was no way that I could help her. So I just did what I could and I left the rest with her because she was so far from the mark that she didn't understand. And eventually she pivoted. She went and she spent thousands of dollars with a North American person who showed her this is how you do it. And you need to centralize your message and whatever. And so even that too kind of impacted me because I'm like, but I told you the same thing. What? Because I don't have a North American accent because I'm black. I mean, she's black too, but and she's from here. But I'm like, but I said the same thing to you. Why aren't you giving me the same credence that you give to this person? You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to find out you cannot market to the entire world. You just have to pick an audience, and she did. She chose women of a certain age. I think it was mid-career women or something like that. Was what I was saying to her. I mean, these are your experiences. These are the people that you can target, and this is what we need to do. But she wanted the whole wide world, okay? And so you just have to be able to choose. Just find that there's somebody out there who wants what you have. Find that person, speak to that person, know what you want to say to them, know how you want to say it to them, and trust me, all the other things, you will learn them along the way, and things will begin to fall into.
And the truth is, if you speak a certain way and certain people are going to hear you, no one can compete with that because they don't speak the same way. And those people are not listening. Those people that are listening to them aren't going to listen to you.
Right.
And that's okay because you weren't able to necessarily get through this woman at first. That relationship wasn't right.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you talk to me, I would be like, yeah. Okay, I'm right on. And here we work together. So, you have to really know who your audience is when you've got a product. Now, I mean, obviously, we're not talking about the Apple phone, but when you've got a product, it's for a certain person. And you have to say to yourself, this product is for women within the ages of. And that's your audience. And you deal with it. And you go through the strategy. And you talk with them. And you find out their pain points. And you create the scenario. And you double down on that. And you do it once. You do it twice. You rinse, you wash, you do it again. And you establish yourself as an expert within that space.
Right.
At some point, you turn around and you go, well, here's my environment. Here's my little world. If I do this, what happens? No, that's not good. How about if I do this? And that's when you grow. And
definitely.
But you don't say it's this big.
Right.
You
exactly.
That's why start in the community. Start. One of the things I wanted to do when I came out of college was I wanted to bake cookies. I wanted to open a coffee shop with just cookies. So I was baking cookies, a lot of cookies. And my father thought I was crazy. And he's like, do you realize what you're going to need to do if you want to do this? You're going to have to start in consignment. That's if you literally want to do this, bake a batch, give it to a restaurant and say, this is a consignment. So this is yours, but the next time you ask, it's going to cost, right? And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you're going to have to settle for that. But he says, you're going to have to kitchen. You're going to have a license. You're going to have to, I'm like, and I was getting a little bit more realistic. And I was like, okay, so he's telling me that he doesn't want me to do this. And if it was a passion, I would have done it. And years later, I met another woman. We worked together on a project, and she got laid off, and she started making cookies, and I was like, oh, here we go again. And she got herself a kitchen, and she got herself a license. And I don't know if she's still doing it, but I thought to myself, this was meant to come back to me.
Right, yes, definitely.
Because she had the passion. It was the right time in her life to do this. I was, 21, 22 years old? I had no clue.
Right.
Responsibility. What do you mean I got to do this? License. So if you start small and if you think it through, you may go through a few different processes. Now, the thing was, it was cookies and coffee and cookies, but I honestly turn it right around today. And here's email and coffee.
Email and coffee. Yeah. Well done.
We
Well
really
played,
went back to where we started. I really, skills are transferable. I'm doing email marketing, but all of the things that I do in email marketing is like I'm in a kitchen.
Yeah, true. True.
I've got a recipe, but I'm going to mess it up a bit. Maybe I don't want to use this type of flour this time. Maybe I want to use this type of flour. Maybe, you know what, I'm going to try this type of, I'm not going to use olive oil. Maybe I'll use, the sesame seed oil. I'm going to see what happens here. I'm constantly changing things. I'm growing a little bit, but the community is my little kitchen. Well, hello, that's email marketing for me. I've got a few customers. I don't need the world. I don't need an agency. I thought at first I wanted one. And I thought to myself, no, I don't want an agency. I really just want to do this by myself with associates. So if I know some writers, if I know some designers, I can work this out myself. If I have some companies that I can collaborate with, I can work this out myself.
Right.
And here I am, so there's definitely a process, and it's not painless. It's not painless.
No,
but
far from.
It's not painless.
but it is worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. It is completely.
Do you have any special tips you want to share with the audience?
All right. So, with regards to, if you're ready to start a business or you're ready to pivot or whatever, I would say be clear on what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. So it may take you more than a day to figure it out, and that's fine. Ask questions. As Joyce said, you have a community. Ask other persons in your community what worked for you, what didn't work for you. This is what I want to do. What are your thoughts? Ultimately, it is your final decision, but it's good to have some counsel from others who have been there and who have journeyed through these things, and so you don't have to make the same mistakes that they would have made. You can avoid those mistakes. So just take some time and figure out what it is that you want to do. Be clear, have a proper plan. Okay, don't bite off more than you can chew. If you cannot handle running multiple businesses at one time as a beginner, don't. And most beginners don't, because you're just starting out. You're getting your feet wet. So start small, choose one thing at a time. Give it 3 months, maybe 4, maybe 6, see what it works. If not, then you can pivot and you can try something else and see what happens. Ask questions. The people that you want to serve, reach out to them, ask them questions. They are often than not more than willing to talk, more than willing to give you, a few minutes at their time. So you can ask them, hey, how did you get into this business? What are some of the things that you found challenging, et cetera, et cetera? So those have to give you proper guidelines, all right, as to what you want to do. And finally, I would also advise you to enjoy what you're doing. Have fun doing it. Connect with people, not just because you want them as a client, but connect and engage with other people, whether it is online, offline. Have email and coffee chats or coffee chats. Go to an actual coffee store, sit down and engage, and always be learning. That is key. So many things online they change in an instant. They change from time to time. You don't want to be left behind. So always be learning, always try to stay on top of things. Google Alerts is your friend. See what is happening in whatever your industry is. Stay on top of it so that you are aware of what is going on. And then you can educate not only yourself, but those whom you serve as well. So those are just my tips for you. Have lots of fun, because there are going to be days when you're going to be wanting to tear your hair out. So when the time comes, enjoy yourself, enjoy the process, enjoy what you're doing, be willing to share with others, because just as you can share with them, others have deposited into your life, deposit into the lives of others as well, because it will only help your community to be better for it at the end of it all. Yes.
You know, it just came to mind. When we were young, we were told not to talk with strangers. Right?
Yes.
Right? And I think that should change. I think we should talk with strangers. We shouldn't get
Should.
into cars with strangers. Get in the car with a stranger. But talking with them is okay. Talk with strangers. And I mean, I talk with strangers often. And you get different points of view.
True. That is so true. And just to stick there, because I think I did a post in that. I must look it up one of these days. And that when we were small, we were told not to talk to strangers. But let's take LinkedIn, for example. LinkedIn is one place where you connect with strangers globally. You interact, you build friendships, you build communities, you build little pods of people that you can engage and interact with. And thankfully, we have disobeyed our parents' advice in this regard, and we are talking to strangers. Look at us. We were two strangers. Now here we are.
Exactly.
On your podcast talking because, you follow your parents' advice to a T, but in this one, I'm with you. Let's start talking to strangers. Let's start talking to more strangers. Even in the checkout line, I try to do. I don't always, but I try.
I do too. And I found out about cassava the other day, and now I'm eating it like I'm crazy woman.
Oh, welcome to the club. See, we actually have it up there.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
I was buying green bananas, and a woman said to me, "Have you tried this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's called yucca, right? In the store, it's called yucca." So I was like, "No." I'm like, "Is it like a potato?" She goes, "Try it," and she gave me a way to making it, and I'm crazy about it. So talk to strangers. Definitely talk to strangers. They don't poison you. They definitely will not. Just don't get into a car with a stranger. And if a stranger does this with his coat, run away.
Run away. Fast as you can.
Talking is okay. This is not. Flashing is not good. Oh, I'm going someplace we should not go. Well, and speaking of going places, where can people find you on the net?
All right. So currently I'm on two places. I can be found on LinkedIn and I can be found on Twitter. I'm more on LinkedIn than Twitter, but I'm starting back up, to engage on Twitter again. So on Twitter, I am at Tasia Gonsalves-B. That's Gonsalvesb. And on LinkedIn, I am Tasia Gonsalves-Barriero. Tasia. Tasia, yes, always a Tasia. Tasia Gonsalves-Barriero, Barriero. And that's me on LinkedIn. You can find me and there, send me a connection request. I accept 99% of the LinkedIn requests. Only those who are trying to hard sell me once. But, right away, I just don't bother with that. But I accept connection requests because, hey, it's all about connecting with people, engaging with people, networking, and building relationships with people. So, yes, I can be found in those two places. You can send me a connection request or hit me a follow. And, you can always send me a DM as well. Just to say, I heard you on Joy Brooks's Email and Coffee and just wanted to say hi. And I will say hi back.
Cool. I will post those two social links underneath. Hopefully they're underneath. And if not, maybe on top. I don't know. But just look for them. I will post them.
Yes. All right.
Thanks
cool.
so much. It was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. I would like to get on an airplane and come right down right now.
I can imagine how cold it is up there.
I'm wearing I'm wearing sweaters and gloves.
Oh wow! Wow!
Yeah. Wow. Well, I get chilly.
I've only experienced a cold like that once. I went to Chile in the summer, and our summer is their winter because we're in different sides of the hemisphere.
Right.
But when we got there, it was almost close to, winter was winding down, and so it was getting close to springtime. But that was the first time I ever experienced cold like that. And then we went up into the mountains where they had skiing, and that was super cool. But other than that, I've never traveled anywhere else, when it was spring. I've been to the United States, but in the summer, never in the winter. I don't think I could handle the winter thing like that at all.
Well, no, you're an island girl. I wouldn't make you do that. That would not.
You are definitely welcome here to Antigua. Make it happen, Joy. Make
I'd love
it
to.
happen.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being there. And
Mhm.
I appreciate all the tips, and thanks to the audience, and have a lovely day.
Thank you so much for having me, Joy. Goodbye, everyone. Okay, bye.